What is going on, everyone? We are here for another Spotlight series hosted by yours truly, ACK. You'll know the drill at this point. Like, we've had so many episodes and just been having a blast doing this. It doesn't matter if I'm talking to a country artist, a rap artist, a pop artist, and it doesn't matter if they're in the US or if they're up in Canada or Ireland. Just hearing their stories and hearing their passion for music and the behind the scenes and how stuff really comes together is what this whole series is about. And just making those connections in the music business is such a key and valuable thing at the end of the day. So I have a super talented artist here today. I'm super excited for this one, and it's Chandler Marie. Chandler, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
And not too bad. I just appreciate you, and just I always appreciate any artist just taking time out of their day to just sit down and do this interview and talk about your story through music. So thank you for sitting down and being on the show today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate you reaching out. I'm excited.
No, of course. It's kind of just funny because when we originally had talked, you were just getting ready to go to Garth Brooks, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that's a couple weeks away for me." And now here we are. You went to Garth Brooks, and then I just went last night. So it's kind of
Oh yeah.
crazy how we talked about all that, but we were talking about that kind of just before the interview started here, and just how talented Garth Brooks is, and I mean, just the setup and lineup that he has for all of his songs and stuff like that. And it's always cool just to kind of hear people going to the same concerts in different venues and stuff and just like kind of hearing those ideas.
Oh yeah. He blows me away every time. Which venue? Where did you go?
So it's part of his stadium tour. So it was at where the Patriots play in Gillette Stadium.
Okay, so I went to the Nissan Stadium one, and I also
Okay.
saw him in Knoxville a few years ago at
Oh, okay.
Neyland Stadium. And honestly, like it's basically the same show, but he makes it so special to each like venue that he's at.
Yeah.
Like he specifically made this one to towards Nashville, and then in Knoxville, he was like, "Where's all my Vols fans?" I was like, "Right here,
Oh,
go
I forgot.
Vols!"
I forgot. You're a Vols fan, aren't you? I
I
forgot.
well, obviously,
I forgot about that one. I mean, I guess I mean, because I am a big sports guy and everyone knows that. So I guess I will have to let that one slide because all my college teams suck at this point. But
hey, all we have going for us is baseball at the moment, but you know what? We'll take it. We will take it.
nah, fair enough. So obviously I want to hear your story through music, and kind of just jumping in right to the first question is it's the basic of basics, and it's how did music start for you? Like, where did singing and playing, how did all that start? Because I know for some artists it's different. Like some people come out of the womb just singing and humming nursery rhymes. But then some people like myself, as I always just give a good example, is I only started the songwriting and producing aspect in 2018. So that was only like 4 or 5 years ago for me. And that's how some people start. But
Mhm.
where did kind of everything start for you?
So it kind of started, like you said, kind of out of the womb, kind of just singing. I did praise band a lot. I would sing with my dad a lot. It's kind of where it started. He really brought out music for me. He taught me guitar, taught my first music note, and then got into actual guitar classes. He had his own like record stuff. Like he was going to Nashville, and then he was like, you know what, this isn't for me. I need to stay back with my family, and kind of gave up his music career for his family, which I admire a lot. So right now I'm kind of, just living out his dream, like was as my dream and doing it together. Cause I've asked him so many times to like play guitar for me and all this stuff. I'm like, heck yeah, we'll do it together. But it's kind of where it started. And then going like from middle school, like high school out through college, I would sing in like praise band, just like in church, stuff like that. And then I actually kind of gave it up in college, not like gave up music, but just kind of took a step back, like focused on schoolwork, having my college experience, and then kind of got back into it. But just, where it all started, just I've always had a love for music. It doesn't matter what tune it is. It could be any kind of genre, rap, country, gospel. I'm always going to find like a good tune and I'm going to jive with it. So it's just kind of, music's always kind of just been there for me, honestly. So
No, that's
nothing
all.
really new.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, and that's awesome because that's like how it was for me is music's always been there for me like since the day I was born. Like my mom is a huge inspiration because she was always listening to that 90s early 2000s like country music.
Hmm.
Listening to Travis Tritt, Alan Jackson, Tim McGraw, Kenny Chesney, all of them. And then as the years go on, obviously Eric Church, Luke Combs, Morgan Wallen, just
Oh yeah.
to me, I could keep going on for hours and sit here for hours talking about inspirations and just kind of how it all works. But like you said too, is just having that diversity too, whether it's pop, rap, country,
Hmm.
like just music in general has always been there. So it's super cool to hear people have like such a diversity like that.
Oh yeah. I kind of find it like hard to stay on one genre because then like I don't want to get bored. So I kind of like switch it up. And so like seeing a lot of new artists kind of bring in like the pop. Now I'm a big oldie. I love old country, 90s country, George Strait, all that, but also seeing like the new artists bring in like kind of like the hip hop country, it's kind of cool. And I really like that too.
No, absolutely. And so kind of like talking about all these artists and stuff, like I know I just named a few, and some of those people I look up to a lot. And kind of going back to when we just started the interview, talking about Garth Brooks and stuff, he was a huge inspiration for me.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Daughtry was a huge inspiration for me. And it's just always cool to ask this second question and to talk about your inspirations, like who you kind of look up to in the music business. And then obviously the first way I found you actually was on TikTok, and in the video that I saw on TikTok was you were I think you were performing out somewhere, and your dad was playing guitar for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first thing I saw, and that's why I reached out and stuff like that, because I really felt that, and like just having your dad there, and I think you wrote like a little caption with it and everything. So
Oh yeah.
obviously he must be like an inspiration to you too. You kind of touched up on it a little bit, but then talking about that, and then who are some of your inspirations like in the music industry itself right now?
So obviously my dad, he's been like through it all. He's just kind of like been there answering all my questions, having my back through all this music stuff. And he's, just being able to do this with him is really exciting. So some country artists that are some big inspirations right now are kind of obviously, like Priscilla Block is new. She's up and coming artist who kind of like made her debut kind of through TikTok and just kind of like seeing her, she kind of blew up out of nowhere, which is amazing because, it's kind of, some people it doesn't happen overnight, some people it does, but she's really put in the work. And, listening to her interviews that she's had like on like different shows and just seeing how she's kind of bloomed is really inspirational. I'm trying to think of who else. I've really been inspired by like the older artists as well. Kind of, like Dolly Parton, she's, Shania Twain, who else was it? Oh my goodness, my brain is not going. But anyways, all of those, just kind of seeing like their stories. I know Dolly Parton had her movie out of a coat of many colors, stuff like that, like showing her life throughout her music career and being where she is now. She's like a country music icon, like
Exactly.
literally amazing. And she's come from like in the middle, like nowhere. Like she literally came from nowhere and brought herself up with all this hard work. And just like honestly, all artists, like nothing was handed to them. They've all worked hard. And that's something that I look up to. Like if you want something, you have to go out and get it. It's not going to be handed to you. So just seeing how them put in the work and all of that is really, really awesome.
No, exactly. And I'm about to just give two quotes because it sets up the next question. And then actually
Okay.
just another side quote from what you just said is like how you have to go out and get something, like nothing's
Mhm.
handed to you. And one quote that I live by that just kind of really sets that, and everyone knows I'm a big hockey fan and stuff like that. So Wayne Gretzky is, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And if you don't take those shots, you never know what's going to happen. You never know what you can achieve and just where everything can go from there. So always one of my favorite quotes, just to kind of had to throw that in there. And then to set up this next question is, it's a really cool and unique question because I don't think I've ever had the same answer
Mhm.
for this question. And it's understandable because the creative process, it's so different for every artist. Doesn't matter if it comes from the melodies or the lyrics, and just people have just so many cool, interesting ways to do their creative process when it comes to writing a song. So kind of formally before I ask the question is I have to shout out Garrett Walker, who was on the show, and he set it up perfectly, and everyone relates to this now, is the creative process is like a puzzle, whether you have 500 or 1,000 pieces. How people do 1,000-piece puzzles, have no idea. But anyway, you have all these pieces scrambled like on the table, whatever, and you're trying to figure out, okay, this piece fits there, that piece fits there. Then you start putting the border together, you start putting the middle together, and by the end you slowly have this masterpiece. You have this thing that you can hang up on your wall, that you can cherish, that you can listen to. So he always just says it's like a puzzle when it comes to the creative process. And like I said, for so many artists, it's so different. So when it comes to writing a song, what is your creative process like?
I couldn't honestly not describe that any better with the whole puzzle aspect of it. That's actually really true. When honestly, like whenever I started writing music, I wrote my first song when I was 9 years old. It is a terrible song. I don't even know why I still have it, but we're not even gonna get into that. I don't even know what it's about anymore. But I always starting now, like always write a chorus first. I
Mhm.
don't know why, but I always get like a melody in my head first. And then I'm like, okay, I like the tune. Let's write a chorus. And then when I write the chorus, I'm like, let me go back and write the verse. And then I ended up hating it. And then I'm going to start all over. So, but then I go back and take bits and pieces of songs that I've written in the past and kind of put them into new songs. So then I kind of get rid of those in a way if I didn't like them.
Yeah.
But it's kind of just like, it is a puzzle piece. You know, you go and you pick up a piece and you're like, no, I don't, that doesn't fit. Let's try a different one. Then you finally find ones that fit. And then, you know, you got your 1,000-piece puzzle done. And you know what? We like it. We're going to go record it. We're going to get grooving and, you know, hope other people like it too. And so that's pretty much it. You know, it just kind of, it's different for everybody. Not everyone's going to be the same. And, you know, just, sorry, my dog is barking. That is, oh my word, my ADHD. So it's just kind of different, and just being able to see how other people write, because that's why I love co-writing. I've only co-wrote with like 1 or 2 people, and just seeing how like their brain works and like how they want to write songs, and then you can like bring in your ideas, and then it's like all different, and you end up getting really great like music, and like
Exactly.
so it just kind of all works out.
No, exactly. And obviously leading up to this interview, we were kind of talking about
Mhm.
collabing and stuff like that. And it's just cool because I think we would really connect when it comes to co-writing, because just everything that you just said is how I kind of go about the creative process too, is like I'll kind of start with like that chorus and then I'll
Yeah.
work around it from there. And then like you said too, like my biggest thing is actually how I finished up a few songs recently over the last 2 weeks is going back to older songs, taking some lines from them,
Hmm.
and I'm realizing, oh, okay, this actually kind of fits with this chorus that I just came up with. So why don't I take that for the verse and then just scrap the rest of that because no one wants to listen or read any of that stuff.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but so it's just cool to kind of hear stuff like that. And it's just crazy because obviously you don't have any music out right now. And obviously
No,
I'm assuming you're getting some out there
we're
eventually,
getting
but
there.
it's just
I
it's
promise.
no, it's just crazy though because I've heard the one song that you've put out there is it, sorry, what is the name
It's
of it?
called Save You a Dime.
Gave you
Yes.
a dime. Okay, I knew it had something to do with a dime, and
Yes.
I do apologize. My brain is all
You're totally fine.
rambled jambled from Garth Brooks last night, so blame it on Garth Brooks. But it's crazy because hearing that song and hearing all the covers that you do, and I think I said this when we had called and kind of set up the pre-interview and
Hmm.
everything like that is I don't understand how you're not on the radio right now and how you're not like performing like on stages like Garth Brooks is, like just performing in arenas and stuff like that. No, because your vocals are just crazy and you have that country sound that just needs to be on the radio right now.
Oh, thank you.
No,
I know I'm a very impatient person, but you know, we are trusting the Lord right now, and it is all in his timing. We were supposed to have things done by March. I just started like getting back into my music career in 2020. It leading up to this song, things happened in my life, you know, and that's how we got this song. So, and I'll explain that later too. But you know, just kind of going through life, you know, moving to Nashville, starting my new job as a preschool teacher, it just kind of was all like timing, and then finally getting able to be like, hey, let's sit down, let's actually say, like, I was talking to my mom and dad about it, and I was like, I want to record this song. This is something I want to do with my life, and they've always known music was my passion.
yeah,
Not being a preschool teacher, but you know, I love my kiddos. But and you know, just we were supposed to record in March, things happened, we couldn't get the musicians together. um so like fast forward to a month and a half, you know, it was April 29th. We're finally recording. We're in the studio. We have everything done. Now we're waiting on mixing. Everyone's already booked. Obviously, you know, everyone is wanting the same person. Everyone's wanting the best of the best, you
yeah.
know, and so we finally have someone mixing it, and Lord willing, we will have a song out in July. And then, so we're doing more than one, but we're just going to release one at a time. But, you know, we have it in the works. The Lord is really testing my patience right now because he knows I'm an impatient person. And he's like, nope, Chandler, you're going to wait. We're going to wait 2 more months. I'm like, okay, Lord, can you just, you know, fast forward it already 2 months?
No,
But, you
exactly.
know, and yeah, we're
No,
trusting him. So it's in the works. We're going to get there. And I'll let everyone know, I promise. Because I've had so many people ask me, they're like, do you have a song out? I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm so embarrassed. No, I don't. But like, I'm going to promote myself anyways. So,
exactly. And then obviously promoting's kind of gonna get into this next question here
mhm.
is obviously you don't have anything out, but you're promoting yourself like hundreds and hundreds of artists are doing on TikTok, Instagram, and stuff like that. And there every day I feel like I find a new artist. Like there's hundreds of new artists just trying to make a name for themselves, and
Yes.
just it's hard to keep track of everyone sometimes. And this is always the hardest question I ask on the series, and people always freeze up on that, and then the grin comes like you just did, the little smile, because you know what question's coming.
Uh-huh.
And it's a difficult question, because I tell people all the time, if you were to straight up ask me this question, I don't know if I could actually answer it right now. Like I know I'm a songwriter, I know I'm a producer and stuff like that, and I love this interview series, and I'm really starting to say, okay, I definitely love the songwriting, I definitely love the interview series, and I mean, as much as I love producing and stuff like that, like I can kind of figure out the songwriting, and the podcast is who I am right now, and
Mhm.
that's really my focus. So at the end of the day, is with all these other artists out there, is what makes you you compared to all these other artists.
The question of the day. Let me tell you. No, I've had a while to think about this, honestly, and I just kept like going back to, there's no other Chandler in this world like me. There's no other George Strait in the world. There's one, and all the music could sound the same, but really what kind of makes me stand out is just kind of like I'm a go-getter, and like there's a lot of other people out there too, but like I'm gonna work for what I want. The songs that I like, the effort I put into my songs, they're not just like random songs. I've actually thought about them for a while. And like Save You a Dime, it's about like a breakup, and that actually happened in my life. And it's just kind of like telling a story. Like everyone tells their story through their songs, but it's just kind of experiences that I've had, and mine are kind of so specific too. Like I know people like kind of like go around it not to make it so specific, but it happened in my life. I don't want to cut corners. So it's just kind of like there's not really that many redheads out there either. So I kind of want to put that out there. Try to be the next Reba McEntire out here. Just kidding. But just kind of like being open about stuff. Like if people want to like talk about music, like I'm going to. I don't know, man. This is like the hardest question ever.
It
And I
is.
also don't like being like gloat about myself either. Like I'm not that person like saying, "Oh, I'm this and that." Like there's so many good songwriters out there, and we all bring stuff different to the music, business. And that's why I love like writing songs with other people, is because their brains work in different ways. They bring so many different ideas. They have different life experiences, and just bringing them all together just makes like for good, country, rap, whatever genre song
Yeah.
you're going for. So that's what kind of makes me stand out. Like I'm really not like any different than the other guy, but we're gonna try and just get my tune out there, and people like it, they like it. So
Exactly. No, and I've heard millions of different answers for this question when I ask it, but
I hope that
honestly,
was an okay answer.
no, and I'm about to compliment you for what you said, is because I've heard a lot of answers, and everyone's answers are great, but what you said to start that question off was exactly what I look for when I ask that question. You said there's no other Chandlers out there. I'm Chandler. There's no other Chandlers out there, and like there's no other George Straits out there. Like that's the answer like I always look for. And then because people say like, oh, I get compared to this artist and that artist, and they say like, oh, my tone's different than these people,
Mhm.
but no one says what you just said, is that you're Chandler and there's no other Chandler out there. I mean, yeah, maybe there's another girl out there named Chandler somewhere
Yeah.
in the world, but she's not you, and you're just you, and that's really the artistry behind it.
Yeah, I know I'm always going to be me too. I'm the kind of person who like doesn't really care what I say. I'm just out there. And that's a lot for some people, and that's like they're just like, "No, I don't want that." But I'm going to be me. Lord made me the way I am. And we're just going to go for it. I get compared to other artists too. They're like, I'll look at my comments on TikTok, and they're like, "You're the next Miranda Lambert. You're the next so and so." And I'm like, I could be. Yeah, thank you for that, because they're amazing artists. Like I really appreciate that. But I'm just going to try to make my own sound, and we'll go from there and just be Chandler.
No,
So,
exactly. No, and that's what it's all about, is just making an identity for yourself and who you are, and making your own sound. Doesn't matter who else is out there in the world. You want to just do what
exactly.
you're doing. You want to make your fans like and connect with your fans and stuff like that. And you just want to do what makes you happy. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So kind of getting into the last question before we obviously hear a song by you, and that's always
Yeah.
my favorite part, is hearing the performances. But kind of looking towards the future, obviously you talked about, I think when we were talking about the creative process, is you already have the song in the works, Save You a Dime, and then you have
Hmm.
some other stuff in the works that's coming out in July. But what are some of your short-term and long-term goals, and just what else can we expect down the road from you?
Yeah, so I actually have multiple songs written. They're not being recorded yet. But my whole goal is to have like an EP of my entire music like experiences thus far. Um, I'm not sure how that process is going to work yet, but it's in my brain. So just kind of like sharing my story of how it started. So Save You a Dime was really the first song that's actually been put together fully with music, everything. And so just kind of go from there with each song telling a story of where I am today. So just, we'll figure it out. Short term, I would love to play more places. We've been calling all this stuff. I'm trying to, go out of just Nashville, try to make my name known. I actually play in Florida Memorial Day weekend.
Oh,
So
okay.
anyone in Florida, come on down. So we're trying to get out there. Play different places. I just love to perform, and even if it's not my songs, I'd love to perform my songs, but just being on stage, like singing for people and being a performer for people who love music, just to be there. But that's really where I am long term, just to be out and about, and one day be on stage with the big guys. I don't know, we'll see.
No, fair enough. And no, I always just like asking that question because it's just always cool to see where people put their short-term and long-term goals and how they kind of figure all that stuff out. So it's just always cool to hear that, because I know for some of my short-term goals and stuff like that is to get new music out there. Everyone's waiting. Like, I have that song Back to When, which was the original song that I wrote about my grandfather passing away, and that's how I really got into music. So everyone's always saying like, oh, when's that actually coming out? Like, I love the demo, but like,
Yeah.
when's it coming out? When's all that coming out? So obviously people stay tuned for that, because that is coming in a few months anyway.
Yay.
But yeah, so can't wait for that. But getting to the best part of the interview is hearing a song by you.
Okay.
I always love doing these and just hearing a live performance, just because it makes the interview, it raises it to another level. And I always just have to say is, because I always showed everyone out because I've had so many people on this interview at this point, but Kelly and Kat, they were two sisters, super, super talented. And then they did their live performance on here. And ever since then, it's either chills or go home at this point. So no pressure, even though there is a lot of pressure here, but it's either if I get the chills, then you're good, the interview will air, but if not, then not really sure what's going to happen with the interview at this point. Might get thrown away. No, but I'm just kidding. But it's just no pressure, but it's always my favorite part to hear something by you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put myself on mute to let you kind of take the floor, so there's no audio interference or anything. And if you want to let the people know just a little bit about the song, like how it came about, and other than that, the floor is yours.
Sweet. Okay, well, I hope this gives you the chills. So this song's called Save You a Dime. It's kind of about money. I went through a bad breakup about almost a year ago, and it just kind of, when you hear the words, it's just kind of like, I'm not here to talk bad about anybody, it just kind of gave me a country song, and I was like, we're gonna roll with it, let's do it. Hopefully people like it. There's one line in here, it talks about, if you know anything about golfing, caddy, breaking whatever, your goals. So I hope you guys enjoy this. It's supposed to be kind of funny, but if you relate to it, just, good. I'm glad you relate to it. But hopefully no one's going through a breakup right now. No one wants that. I don't wish that on anybody. So, but this is called Save You a Dime. This is one of my first songs ever finished. So I hope you guys like it. Make sure I'm in the right key here. That would be bad. All right, here it goes. You never wanted it to be me and you. If I was there, your friends were too. You had me feeling like one of the guys every single Friday night. Of course you didn't mind when I was the one driving to your city, 'cause God forbid you spend that 50. Breaking up with me didn't save you a dime. On your open tab was your Bud Lights. Judging by your IG, I guess you just might be doing everything you wouldn't do with me. Still trying to figure out how to break 80, and being your caddy really drove me should have known better when you traded in your Z 71 to get a little better in PG. But you didn't spend the difference on me. Little date night, you burning burgers would have been just fine. I guess this is what they all call hindsight. Breaking up with me didn't save you a dime. On your open tab was your Bud Lights. Judging by your IG, I guess you just might be doing everything you wouldn't do with me. Still trying to figure out how to break 80, and being your caddy really drove me crazy. You can't really say you got more money or time, 'cause breaking up with me didn't save you a dime. Well, I guess you thought breaking my heart that you were just so clever, but boy, I ended up better. Breaking up with me didn't save you a dime. On your open tab was your Bud Lights. Judging by your IG, I guess you just might be doing everything you wouldn't do with me. Still trying to figure out how to break 80, and being your caddy really drove me crazy. You can't really say you got more money or time. No, you can't really say you got more money or time, 'cause breaking up with me didn't save you a dime. Yeah, breaking up with me didn't save you a dime.
Unreal. Now, usually sometimes when I hear live performances and stuff like that, it takes like a couple of verses in and like the chorus to get the chills.
I'm so sorry if it sounded bad. I've been practicing all day and my fingertips are gone.
The first note, I was already like, the chills already started coming out.
Oh, good.
Like, your vocals are just so crazy. And like I said, like, and I mean, even if I was to compare you to someone, which I don't think I could right now, is just because you're Chandler, and that's who you are at the end of the day. And just, I love the song, love the lyrics behind that, can relate to all that. And it's just super, super cool. And like I said, just a fantastic job.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I know my fingertips, I was like, keep going, keep going. I don't know why the calluses are just not there anymore, but I was like, it was so fun. I love doing that. That was awesome.
No, and that's, like I said, that's always my favorite part of the interview, is just hearing those live performances and just really hearing who you are as an artist. Because yeah, all these questions really set up for who you are as an artist, but then just hearing that song, hearing the lyrics and hearing your tone and stuff just really sets up and finishes everything, like puts the icing on the cake and everything, that you're just you're an unbelievable artist.
Well, thank you so much.
No, of course. So kind of before I do my little outro here, is where can we find you on social media so people can go check you out?
Yeah, so let me look this up, because sometimes I just forget. It's different on each one. I don't know why. So I'm on TikTok. That's where I post most of my singing videos. It's at Chandler_Marie_music. Okay, that's a lot. I know, but just remember the underscores. Now on Instagram, it's Chandler Marie_music. So just one underscore.
Okay.
But yeah, that's about it. I'm usually just on those two. Yeah, I'm on Facebook for my mom's friends, but that's, just for them, So yes, those are the two platforms that I'm mostly on. And then hopefully music platforms will be on there too. So
no, absolutely. Definitely everyone go check her out. Super, super talented singer-songwriter right there. Y'all just heard that performance by her, Save You a Dime, her original song. Hopefully that'll be out. What you say, you're hoping July at some point?
July, yes.
Okay. No, absolutely. And we will definitely be on the lookout for that. And I can't wait for more music to come from you. And then, like I always say for these interviews, is it always makes a great connection and opens new doors. So who knows, maybe at some point, like we talked about, we'll have a collab and maybe we'll have a song out at some point. Who knows?
Heck yeah, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, no, but other than that, Chandler, just thank you so much for taking time out of your day today to just be on the show and just share your story through music.
Thank you so much. I'm really appreciative that you reached out to me. This was so exciting. It's my first podcast ever.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Hey,
super
I'm
pumped.
setting milestones. That's fine with me.
Yes.
Listen, hey, if I'm the first interview that you do, then that's good enough for me at the end of the day. I've had a few of those on here, and now I'm shouting out another artist. I shout out so many artists on here, and they probably all get
Hey,
tired of
you
it.
do it.
But shout out to Broadtree because they're up in Canada. They're duet, and they were saying is like they've had a couple of like Canadian interviews and stuff like that, but I was their first US interview and stuff like that.
Oh
So
wow.
it's always crazy just to, and it always like that's what makes the interviews for me is hearing stuff like that is like I was the
Mhm.
first interview that you did. And I mean, I'm not big time, like not millions of people aren't going to see this, but maybe a few hundred, something like that.
Hey,
But
you never know.
exactly. And I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, because like I interviewed Brandon Davis, who's now on tour with Tim
Mhm.
McGraw. So like it's crazy like how stuff like that happens. Is I had him on the show, and then 2 months later he's on tour with Tim McGraw, and he's making an even bigger name for himself and just
For
killing it.
real. Oh
So
my
you never
gosh.
know, but stuff like that just makes my day. So thanks for saying that. And again, just thank you for taking time to be on the series.
Yes, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
No, of course. So ladies and gentlemen, that concludes another episode of the Spotlight series hosted by yours truly, ACK. You all know the drill at this point is every Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, we have a new artist on here. You never know who it's going to be. You never know the good times that we're going to have on here. And y'all just stay tuned for next week, and we'll see you next week.